Once again, good morning, Southborough. I am Steve Wynot, Commander of the VFW Post 3276. And to my right, Colonel Dan Calander, Commander of American Legion Post. My thanks to Dan and Veteran Service Officer Brian Stearns, who took point on Friday night with the scouts, the veterans, and the residents to replace over 900 flags at the rural cemetery, despite less than ideal weather. My understanding, he got it done just before the rain came. And then somehow, I was worried at 7 o'clock this morning, it was pouring rather well. It held off, and it's not too bad. To the many workers who maintain our cemeteries throughout the year, your efforts are not overlooked. I graciously appreciate it. Thank you very much. To the men and women of Southborough Fire and Police for their ongoing support, not just today, but throughout the year. Thank you. Thank you to Chief Paulus and to Chief Achilles. As you travel Route 85 in Main Street, you'll see the symbol of this great nation flying from the flagpoles above the roadway. Our appreciation once again to the Fanner family for mounting these flags and for their continued efforts to maintain the landscaping here at all wards. I know Bonnie and Peter are not here. PJ, Adam, please pass my best along to your parents. Thank you very much. Yes, they all deserve it. Once again, I'd like to thank Nina Richmond for a very nice job on the Gettysburg Address just a few minutes ago. And to our Algonquin students, Julia Howe and Sarah Cassidy, for once again providing taps for us as they did this past Veterans Day. Memorial Day is not about us veterans who stand here before you or who are here among the crowd. It's not about you who stand here with us, though we graciously appreciate you being here. It's not about cookouts, opening the summer cottage, or declaring this weekend the first weekend of summer. It's not about those special sales to sell more stuff that you probably don't need anyway. From the days of the American Revolution to the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the global war on terrorism, and the many so familiar conflicts this country has endured, thousands of men and women from small New England towns such as Southborough have answered the call. Even as we enjoy this day, we have men and women who grow up here in town that are serving around the globe, standing by, many in harm's way, to protect free people and to stand between those who seek to do us wrong. But it's not just about them. It's about those names in the center section behind me on this memorial who made the total sacrifice of their future so we standing here have a future. It's about those men and women whose names are etched on memorials and monuments similar to what we have here in Southborough in the small towns across this nation. That is what Memorial Day is about. We deeply appreciate that you have remembered what this day is and have taken the time to join us to honor our fallen. Each of us have an obligation and a duty to ensure that the highest respect and honor are rendered to those here that made the ultimate sacrifice. Look at those names in the center. That's what Memorial Day is all about. I'll now ask the Reverend Eastman to come forward.
So let us pray. Lord God, we are humbled at this moment, humbled and grateful. We remember again, O God, that these who have given their lives were not fearless. What distinguished them is that in the face of fear, they rose up anyway. They found their deep wells of strength, and they acted. Help us never to forget that witness and to practice the same for the rest of our lives. God bless all your children here, and amen.
Thank you, Reverend. If we have any veterans that are in the crowd that have not come forward, I invite you to do so. Please come sit on the bench. Gino doesn't bite. Mr. Tabaldi, one of our Korean War veterans.
Oh, yeah, must have someone coming up.
Thank you, sir. You don't need an invitation. I've seen you before. You are always welcome to come in and sit with us, please. At this time, American Legion Commander, Iraqi War veteran, Army Reservist, and former Selectman, Colonel Dan Callander will share his remarks. Sir.
Thank you, Commander Wynot. Following the Civil War, Memorial Day was established, and I quote, "For the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion." This past Friday, I was thrilled to see so many join us to decorate the graves of service members from all of our conflicts who are buried in our rural cemetery. And once again, I was especially happy to see so many scouts. You demonstrate the very best of what citizenship means, what honor and respect means. Please, a hand for every one of the scouts who've been so helpful for all of us. This Memorial Day, many will specifically recall our fallen from World War I, as our nation opened our National World War I Monument in Washington, D.C. just last month. Private First Class Leo Bagley was Southborough's only resident to die in service during World War I. Southborough's American Legion Post is named after him, and we honor and remember him today. Reflected on one of the memorial's panels is this quote from an American poet: "Our deaths are not ours, they are yours. They will mean what you make them. Whether our lives and our deaths were for peace and a new hope, or for nothing, we cannot say. We leave you our deaths. Give them their meaning." I ask everyone here to give meaning to their deaths, lest they have died in vain. Thank you. May God bless our war dead, and may God continue to bless our town of Southborough.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd ask, well, I'm going to take a break for a second. Need to swap rifles. Colonel Jackman? I'll ask Vietnam veteran Colonel Bill Jackman to once again read the names of those who have been laid to rest here since last Memorial Day in the town of Southborough. Sir.
Emil W. Miller III, Southborough, Massachusetts, Vietnam, Army. John Morrow, Southborough, Massachusetts, Korea, Army. Craig D. Martin, Burlington, North Carolina, peacetime, Army. Nikolai Diachenko, Boulder City, Nevada, peacetime, Marines. Richard F. Dunn, Framingham, Massachusetts, peacetime, Army. Thomas Sturriali Jr., Southborough, Massachusetts, peacetime, Navy. Leonard W. Dunstan, Hardwick, Massachusetts, World War II, Air Force. Radio A. Bartolini, Southborough, Massachusetts, World War II, Marines. William H. O'Rourke, Westborough, Massachusetts, peacetime, Air Force. Arthur K. Holmes, Southborough, Massachusetts, World War II, Army. Ronald O. Edgren, Southborough, Massachusetts, National Guard. Frank William Jr., Southborough, Massachusetts, Iraq, Army. Warren R. Meyer, Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Peacetime, Coast Guard. Charles F. Colcord, Southborough, Massachusetts, Korea, Army. Robert E. Clark, Marlborough, Massachusetts, peacetime, Air Force. James K. Urban, Southborough, Massachusetts, Vietnam, Army. And in the Burnett Cemetery, John L. Gardner, Hamilton, Massachusetts, World War II, Navy.
Thank you, Colonel. At this time, I'd like to ask Lisa Braccio, Chairperson of the Board of Selectmen, to step forward.
Good morning, everyone, and a great thanks to Commander Kalenda and Commander Wynot for allowing me the honor to participate on this solemn day. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I extend our gratitude for the selfless service given by so many and their families who never forgot. Every year when I attend these services, I am struck by all of the names on this great wall, all who served and were willing to give more of themselves than anyone should have ever been asked to do. But most importantly are the names in the middle of the wall, those that never came home and got the chance to see their mother smile again, hear a child's laughter again, feel the power of a hug, or be able to grow old and see how their great service shaped this nation. I think about how young they were, with their whole lives ahead of them, how excited for their future they must have been, full of hopes and full of dreams. But when the call came, they went. I would imagine with much fear and trepidation of what may come. These brave young men and women, some no older than my own son, left their loving families and fought some wars they may not have understood, but what they did understand was they were fighting for freedom, the ability for then and future generations to have a choice on how we and others choose to live our lives. Free from tyranny, free to be with whom you want to be, free to live how you choose, and free to just live. When Decoration Day, now Memorial Day, was started, it was to honor those that died defending our freedom. I am sure they never imagined all the lives that would be lost since that time. Freedom is fragile and a gift. Ronald Reagan said, I quote, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Today, I will say extra prayers for the families listed on this wall, especially the Foley family, who are here with us today as always, and all those across this great nation. What I will also do, as General George S. Patton said, I quote, "It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God such men lived," end quote. Looking out and seeing all of you that have attended today is the greatest thanks we can give to pay tribute to those so deserving. To all of our veterans here today and those that have departed, I say it is my pleasure to give my time today to serve and honor you. I would like to end with a quote I used last year that has truly captured the meaning of today from Sergeant David Duchesnay. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who gave us the freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who gave us the freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the politicians, that ensures our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. Thank you to all who serve.
Unfortunately, this year, State Representative Carolyn Dyckman was unable to attend. She's tied up in Hopkinton. I've already told her that the Legion Commander up in Hopkinton, Mike Whalen, owes me big time because we always enjoy having Representative Dyckman with us. Slid under. Silent. During World War I, millions of soldiers were killed and buried in lone graves across Europe in fields such as Flanders Field in Belgium. Canadian doctor, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, authored a poem which notes the crosses and stars marking the burial site of those killed in action in France and Western Belgium. These were young men who went to war but never returned. His thoughts are shared in the poem In Flanders Field. I now turn to honored Korean War veteran and one of 7 brothers who have served our nation, Ray Minucci, to come forward and recite this touching poem. Sir.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row and row that mark our place. And in the sky the larks still bravely singing, scarce stirred amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with our foe. To you, from fallen hands, we throw the torch, yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Once again, it absolutely amazes me that Mr. Minucci, he doesn't look at this piece of paper. He doesn't look at the plaque that those words are inscribed. It's all up here. Thank you. On the wall behind us are the names of the Southborough native sons who served during World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the global war on terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan. The centerpiece are the names of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. These are the men who gave up their futures so we can all be here today. Though we cannot bring these men back, we can do our part to see that the principles that they gave their lives for are not forgotten, and these men are always remembered. Leo L. Bagley from World War I, Charles Davis, Raymond Gould, Frank Harris, Joseph Janiak, Robert Manu, Hal Berry, Harold Fay, Henry Kaler, F.C. Hunt, John McNeil, and H.C. Stevens, all killed during World War II. And the last name, Robert R. Foley, killed in Vietnam. It's because of these men and so many more men and women around this nation who gave the ultimate sacrifice that allows us to gather here today. It is us who enjoy these freedoms who must continue to remember and not let history be forgotten or the sacrifices made be lost. It is our duty to always remember. We are honored to be here today to do that. Colonel Calander, right or honest? Order. Arms. I want to thank everyone once again for coming out today. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to get this in. I guess it would have been one wet day if it had started to rain again, but we've skirted the raindrops. Thank you all for being here. Remember, it's not just today. We remember these names in the center and the names that are on the wall in Vietnam and the other memorials around this nation. It's every day. We owe our gratitude to their sacrifices. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Do you know about
I'm State Representative Carolyn Dykema, and I appreciate this opportunity to share a Memorial Day message with the residents of Southborough. We know that today is a somber day, dedicated to remembering all the men and women who have given their lives in defense of our nation and our way of life. It's also a day to recognize all of those who have served, including our men and women in uniform and our veterans, all of whom understand the sacrifice we're honoring today better than most. I also want to especially recognize our Gold Star families that have lost a family member as a result of their military service. Your loved ones are very much in our thoughts, and we're humbled by your sacrifice and your personal loss for our country. While this day is dedicated to remembering and honoring the many Americans who lost their lives in service, we're also here to celebrate how they lived. Because the way they lived says a lot about who they were and who we are as a nation. We are a country of lofty values, and we have always held ourselves to a higher standard. And throughout history, we've seen these values reflected in those who choose to serve. What most service members have in common is that they found meaning and purpose in contributing to America's noble cause of creating a better world and helping others. This spirit is captured in the words of Ray Shahada, a US citizen and Army soldier who served in Iraq in 2009 and 10. Ray grew up in Egypt and is of Egyptian descent and now works for the town of Hopkinton DPW. When asked why he served, Ray said, "I chose to serve because I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself, to make a difference, to help my country." For many, like Ray, service is a calling to be part of something incredibly significant and meaningful. This calling is the same one embraced by the founders of our country, a calling to promote equality and justice for all. As we look around the world, we're reminded just how fragile and precious these basic rights are, and how indebted we are to those who are willing to defend them. As we reflect on this service by others, I suspect we all question how we can appropriately live up to our own responsibilities as citizens, while honoring the magnitude of the contributions by others, especially those whose names are on the memorials in the middle of town. I suggest that we can do it by lending our own talents to promoting the greater good. In the United States, the land of equality and opportunity, one of our core values is that we all have something valuable to contribute, something wholly our own to give back, and which is essential. This notion goes back to the very earliest days of our founding, when our citizen soldiers came from every walk of life. They had seemingly little in common, but they were drawn together by something more important, and they each had a role to play in the cause. Our nation's first soldiers were farmers, lawyers, shopkeepers, and doctors of different nationalities and who came from small towns as well as big cities. But they found common cause in working to ensure that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness weren't rights for only the wealthy or influential, but the American dream was and should be within everyone's reach. And that spirit still drives us today. As we look to our future with hope, fellowship, and a sense of responsibility to each other and to our country's core values, we remember the men and women memorialized today who have played such an essential role. Let us honor their service and sacrifice by recommitting ourselves to fulfilling our own responsibilities to each other and our country, and to helping fully realize America's great promise. We can find inspiration in the spirit of solidarity, unity, and unselfishness that we see in those who serve, like Ray Shahada. More than ever, we're empowered by the words of former President John F. Kennedy when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Our country needs each one of us to build our children's future together. And as we leave here and spend the rest of our weekend with our families, I hope we all take the time to remind ourselves of our own responsibilities as citizens as we reflect on the sacrifice that has been made on our behalf. Thank you all, and may God bless these United States of America.